We offer customized, flexible nutritional counseling designed specifically for you. We work with diverse clientele of all different ages, different needs, and goals. Whether you are looking for fat loss, muscle gain, body composition shifts, improved health, performance, and endurance, we're here to help.
Anabolic Academy with Big Fakhri and Big Bad Danny Broadhurst. What's happening, fellas?
Well, now, guys.
So I was roasted by the man Nick Trigili, and I fucking called him and I messaged him and thanked him. Because I got home and I opened my laptop and my fucking subscribers jumped up and my views jumped up. I'm like, this is fantastic. I actually messaged him and I messaged him and thanked him, and he was like, "Yeah, don't worry." What's up?
When are you gonna have him on?
I asked him to do a one-on-one interview, but he never answered me. He said he might join us on MD after the Arnold. He says he's too busy right now, but after the Arnold, you know. But he subscribed to my channel and on Instagram. So I gotta believe that. You know, I gotta believe that that's just what he does. You know, I gotta believe that he just like roasts people. Yeah. Like I equate it to Fakhri. Remember the comedian Don Rickles?
Yeah.
Where his whole shtick was if you were in the audience, he was ripping you apart. He was just destroying, and it was like an honor to get shitted on by Don Rickles. So, but I gotta equate it to that because, dude, I was like, you know, it was like awesome because I'm like, oh shit, because he plugged my shit. So anyway,
yeah, for sure.
A lot of people have a problem with Nick, but Nick is. I mean,
listen, you gotta have thick skin.
He's a journalist. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the only really bodybuilding journalist. Like there's a lot of people that have podcasts. You know, you have your own podcast. We're on there,
right?
You know, but you're more of a journalist, and usually when you're a journalist, you just you have to pick the interest of what people are gonna like. You know?
Yeah, he finds out a lot of shit about people.
Dude, he knows what he's doing. That's for sure. I mean, you know, he certainly knows what he's doing. Like, but you know, yeah, like he does a lot of gossip and drama and whatnot. But that's what people want to see. And you know, I don't do that. First of all, I don't have the connects that he does. That's number one. And but he subscribed to my channel. He friended me on Instagram, and I'm like, cool. So I literally thanked him, even though he shit all over me. I sent it to everybody in my family. I'm like, what? This guy shit on me. Like, I made it. I made it. Nick Trigili shit on me. All right. Let's jump into some of the questions. And okay. The first question we got is thoughts on Kratom. Is that how you spell it? How do you pronounce it? Kratom? Kratom. All right. Danny, you want to take that?
Yeah, so it's an opiate antagonist, so it binds to the opiate receptors in your brain, and some people use it to get off of opiates like heroin and painkillers, which I think is probably not a bad idea. But in terms of like messing around with it recreationally, I think it's a very bad idea, because I know that you can build a tolerance to it, and then you're going to go through opiate withdrawal essentially. So
wow. So is it similar to methadone, or
it works kind of in the same way as Suboxone? Yeah, and methadone's a lot stronger, but kind of in the same way as Suboxone. And I know I've taken it before because I take Suboxone, which I'll be on the rest of my life, and it potentiates that. And I didn't like the way it made me feel. But a lot of people like it and use it regularly, and you know, the second you use that thing, you know, probably 4 or 5 days in a row, you know, you're gonna be hurting when you stop it. So
I don't know. I stay away from all that crap. But when you're young and you're a kid, you're always dabbling in that shit.
It's not just for young people though. I mean, a lot of people use it. When I had the stores, this was about 4 years ago before it became actually popular. A manufacturer reached out to me, and that was the first time I heard of it. And it's natural, it's from a natural plant.
Yeah.
And we decided not to carry it because, you know, it was too closely resembling an opium product. And
Yeah.
We didn't know if it was going to be out of, if it was going to be illegal eventually or not. So, but I think eventually, I think people are going to misuse it and they're going to make it into a controlled substance.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that's probably the way it's going to go. And it's funny that anabolics are a controlled substance, right? And there's no, I don't know, conversation for another time. That's actually a good conversation for the MD channel, but we're not going to do that this week. We're going to do that something else. Anyway, all right. So this question is going to go to Fakhri. Carnivore diet for bodybuilding.
Carnivore diet for bodybuilding. Is it like pure carnivore, like only meats, vegetables and stuff like that, or?
I think of the carnivore diet. I think of only meat.
Yeah.
I never did it, but
listen. So that's like Atkins diet. It's carnivore diet, right?
Yeah, it's the same. Keto, Atkins, no carbs. It's the same shit. Yeah.
I mean, as a bodybuilder, you need different foods. You need, there's different amino acids, different foods, different nutrients. So I personally wouldn't recommend it as a long-term diet. I do use keto sometimes for like photo shoots, for like lifestyle clients. I might use it for like a bodybuilding client for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and put it in and out. But other than that, I don't use keto too much, and I wouldn't use the carnivore diet for bodybuilding unless you're trying to really lose weight and not care about the rest of your nutrient requirements. Then yeah, I'm probably gonna get roasted for that, but it's true.
Well, no, I don't think you're gonna get roasted for it because on your off season you got to eat carbs and whatnot to grow. I mean, right? What do you think, Danny?
Yeah.
No, I think any diet where you eliminate all food groups or certain food, like you can't just eliminate a food group.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like Fox said, you could do it for a couple of weeks, but I mean, even with that, like with keto or whatever, like, the kind of keto that obviously we're not talking about the keto where I don't think Fox is where you do 75% fat. We're talking about like bodybuilder keto, like the Dave Palumbo kind of keto where
right.
It's protein and then, a little bit of fat and then, 5% carbs, maybe very little trace carbs.
Right.
But even that, like, you can't use that all the time because that's kind of like you're ace in the hole at the last minute, when you're trying to cut somebody down.
Right.
Use, but I don't think at any time it's really, unless it's for a short period, like Fox said, a couple of weeks, you don't want to eliminate a food group,
Right.
You definitely want to leave something,
Agreed.
It would also depend on your health, right? Because if you have like cholesterol problems and stuff like that, you just can't eat red meat the whole day, every day.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Next question. Pull-ups versus lat pull downs to grow a back. Now, I used to do one or the other, but now that I'm old, I'm 46, and I need to warm up somewhat good before I start training. Otherwise, it hurts or whatever. And I do between 3 and 6 sets of pull-ups before I even start doing lat pull downs, but that's because of my age and pain and injuries and stuff. But Fact, what do you think?
I mean, we know pull-ups work, right? If they didn't work, the gymnasts wouldn't look the way they look.
Yeah, right.
If you look at a gymnast's body, I mean, they have even the females that have incredible, lat development. The whole lat to the waist ratio is huge. And most of the they don't train with weights, right? Everything is calisthenics and pull-ups and such.
Yeah.
So you could develop a muscular physique. I believe in pull-ups. I used them for years. I still use them. But what I would do is I would do pull-ups, like you said, like even like what you do now. I did it when I was young. I would do 3 or 4 sets of pull-ups with my body weight. If I had to add some extra weight, I would. But I think lat pull downs is a little different, right? Because with the pull-ups, you're coming up and you come, it's more for like upper back. With the lat pull downs, it's more of the middle back area, and even some of your rhombus, even some of your erectors, because you're pulling down and you bring your elbows down. So it's a little different exercise, but I would do both.
Okay. What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, I mean, I think it also depends where you're at, in your bodybuilding kind of journey.
Mm-hmm.
When you get like pretty deep into bodybuilding, I don't think you're going to be able to do too many pull-ups.
That's a good point. Yes. Yeah. You never saw John,
You know.
you never saw Johnny Jackson doing pull-ups, but he could deadlift 800, right?
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
you get to a certain weight, pull-ups are going to be difficult. I mean, but like you guys said, I'll do the same thing. I'll do the assisted ones and I'll do those to warm up.
Yeah. But why is that? Why can you deadlift 800 or you could one arm row fucking, I don't know if you saw that guy. I think he's Brazilian, Bruno, and he one arm rode the 300-pound dumbbells at Venice Beach Golds, but it's very difficult to pull up, if you
It's your body weight.
250, 270. Is there
I
something?
guess that's a good question.
I think there's two. I think there's two reasons. One is, as you get bigger, you stop doing pull-ups. I mean, most people do, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second reason is it's a little different because one is you're pulling up.
Yeah.
The other one is, you're pulling up from the top. The other one is you're bending down and your whole entire body is there.
Right, your whole body.
Okay.
This is more of a complete body exercise.
All right. That makes sense. Okay. Next question. Would John be willing to have a cycle and training by Fakhri and Danny Broadhurst? Well, that I'm already a step ahead of you because first of all, do you think I haven't watched Fakhri workout videos? I mean, I've been watching them since forever, right? And then Danny, I actually watched him work out with Milos last week. And in my head, I was going to do the same workout. I did like maybe a third of it. And I called both of them for my cycle info. So I've spoken to both of them for my cycle info. Both of them guide me on my cycle info. So yeah, listen, man, you gotta, when you have good, knowledgeable people, you gotta pull use out of it. So that's fucking what I do. All right. You guys want to chime in on that or no?
Yeah, I mean, we could get you ready for Masters,
Yeah, and no, I'm not doing that. Forget it. That is not happening. No fucking way. No way.
Me and Danny on another podcast now.
Yeah, there is no way in hell. I'm not dieting for a show again. No fucking way. I don't know how they do it. I don't, that you got to really love it to do it for Masters, man, because I have all the respect in the world for Vinny Galante because I don't know how he does it. When it's to me, that's like a young man's thing. You have so much more willpower and drive to fucking do that shit. When now it's all my energy is on making a living, my family, the house, you know what I mean? Making money. That's my number one priority now,
It's even harder. I mean, I'm 49. I've been training since I was 16. So it's like people call me old school, but I've never stopped, right? So I'm from the old school into this generation now. Mm-hmm. But I could tell you from, being 49 years old, it's not the same. It's hard. Yeah. Training is harder. Dieting is harder. So when we see Vinny do what he does, God bless him, man. And I have clients that are 60 years old and they just get into bodybuilding. Yeah. And I'm like, I try to be motivated by them, but it's hard. I'm like, shit, how are they doing that?
Yeah, no, it's Danny, you got anybody that's in the Masters?
I've had not right now, but I've had clients totally. Definitely.
Really? And have competed as a master?
A friend of mine, a friend of mine who I know from out here just turned pro at the North Americans in over 60.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's impressive. The only thing is once you turn pro, where do you go from there? You know what I mean? But then they're going to have master shows, right? Vinny goes into master shows all the time.
Yeah, I think he does master shows. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but also if it's been your dream, your whole, or when you were younger to go pro or whatever, and it's your opportunity to do it. So,
yeah.
All right. So let's go to the next question. I screwed up that question. All right, so we'll just jump to the next one, and then we'll figure out what the other one was. Can you take orals only and become a pro bodybuilder? Well, I mean, we've seen guys turn pro on nothing, right? Kai Green, Ronnie Coleman. I mean, they're genetic freaks. They're 1 in a million. I get it, but most of us know. I don't know. What do you think, Fakhri?
You can, right? I mean, you could turn pro, but it would depend on your genetics. It would depend on what weight class. I mean, not too many people are going to turn pro in a heavyweight or super heavyweight class just taking orals. And if you do, it's dangerous, right? Because you're that's liver toxicity.
Yeah.
You know, especially the ones that you need to take to put on weight, right? You know, the D-balls, anadrils, mint, you know, all those like the really strong PEDs and steroids are liver toxic. So you can, but it's not. It doesn't make sense. You know, I mean, now listen, you could inject oil in a sub Q, you know, needle. You don't need to go into the muscle. You could do a sub Q, you know,
Wait,
in
you
the
take the oral? You take the oral mint? Fuck.
I've taken.
I've never seen. I saw the oral once, but I
Yeah.
didn't think it was any good.
Yeah,
Thought it
so
was-
I took mint once. I think we had discussed this, and it was oral.
Huh.
I put on.
Oh.
I mean, and I know it worked because I was on a cycle already, and I, you know, and I was experienced. I was a couple, you know, I was probably like 2 decades into this, and when I took the mint, I put on like 14 pounds. Like,
Holy shit! Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I just I saw the oral once, but I just thought the injectable was better. But that's interesting
Why is that? Why is that drug not as popular if it's so?
because that half-life's so short.
Oh, is that what it is?
Mhm.
So you need.
Yeah, it's like 6 hours.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So that's why the
I don't believe it.
injectable is not that widely used, but I like the injectable. I use it because I can't use DECA.
Ah, okay.
Sorry.
All right. Here's the question that I screwed up. If you're a coach, how do you know if your client's not doing the work?
Hmm.
I mean, I've seen when Guy Del Corso was training me, I've seen him realize guys weren't doing the work. And for men, I remember he would, you know, tear them apart. I don't know what you're doing, but you're not doing what I'm telling you to do. Right. But yeah, no, it's the truth, because I think he just, I mean, I don't know. Go ahead, Fakhri. You know better than me.
Yeah, I catch people all the time, man. Literally, like I catch people all the time. Like I'll give you an example of how I caught somebody last week. You know, I knew he wasn't doing the work, so I shifted his cardio to like a higher, you know, HIIT step mill cardio. You know, like I have certain programs that I put together, and that program, I know this guy at that weight wasn't gonna do. So I put it in there like 2 weeks ago, and then I asked him the first week, I'm like, how's the cardio? He's like, yeah, I'm doing good. How's the cardio? Second week, yeah, I'm doing good. I'm like, there's no fucking way he's doing cardio. I got on the video chat with him. I said, listen, are you doing cardio? He was like, oh, I'm not gonna lie. You know, another way of finding out if somebody is following the diet or not is by lowering the carbs. So if somebody's dieting at 300 grams of carbs, you lower it to about 100 grams, or even put them like less than that. Listen, we're gonna, you know, if somebody's bullshitting you, you got to try to bullshit them back, right? To catch them. You know, you got to.
I see.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm doing this. Well, all right. So you know what? Let's lower the carbs to see how your body is working more depleted on a glycogen.
Right.
You know, blah blah blah. You know, yeah. I mean, it's funny, but it's true, and that's how it works. And then the person loses like 0.5 pounds.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You're lying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What about you, Danny?
Yeah, see, I don't know, man. I'm a really honest person. overly honest. So I don't really like suspect people of bullshit until I find out late. You know, so I don't know. I don't really try to suss them out really. You know, if they're not gonna fucking listen, you know, they're not gonna listen. And
See,
I don't really.
What I don't understand is when you hire a coach, you're paying him. You're paying him to tell you what to do, and you're not doing it. What's the point? You're wasting time and money.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? I don't get it. I've seen it, and I'm like, you know, I don't, you know, and some coaches, you know, some coaches charge a lot of money, you know. It's unbelievable, but whatever. It is what it is. I don't know.
Weren't you saying you check people's Venmo? Fuck. You check their Venmo sometimes? You were saying?
Venmo?
Yeah, you said you check their Venmo or their like you could see that they spent money on food or they sent money for food. You said something.
No. I usually like you know, people think that sometimes like social media is like a private thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Like videos and pictures of what they eat. And I'm like, hey, how was your week? Oh, I only cheated once. What you cheat on? Oh man, I cheated on steak and potatoes. I'm like, this motherfucker put in the story that he was eating freaking Chipotle last night. You know what I'm saying? So you catch people out there all the time. But yeah, I'm gonna, I agree with you guys, man. I don't understand why people do that.
You gotta be patient to be a coach like that, man. It's, because I don't know. That's difficult because it's like
Danny and I mean, we're both experienced, man, and we're gonna find out, right? And we're both honest people, and so I've fired clients in the past. I don't take people's money if you're not gonna work. It's my name, it's Fakhri Mubarak's name as a coach.
Right.
On stage like that.
Right. You're gonna go on stage looking like shit, and I'm your coach. That's not a good look. Yeah, right. Yeah, good point. Very good point. All right.
I mean, I'll tell the person not to go on stage. I've done that before.
If you're not ready, you're not ready.
Yeah.
The thing is, what's difficult is, and I've noticed this happened to me. Not that I'm not a coach. This is right. Not even close. This is just like if people ask me for help or ask their opinion. Like if I'm dealing with a guy, I could be straight up. But when I'm dealing with a girl, I made the mistake of being straight up with a girl, and she never spoke to me again. She showed up on. What happened was, she did an all natural show, and there was a group of 5 figure girls, and she came in 4th, and she showed me the lineup, and I said, how'd you do? And I knew she looked very watery. She didn't look, hard or anything like that beforehand, but I'm never going to tell somebody before they go, a week before they go on stage, and not ready, right? That's not my job. I'm just a friend. And I said, how'd you do? And she goes, oh my God, the judges are so corrupt and blah, 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 blah. Blame it on everything else besides the fact that you weren't ready. And she goes, they were pushing the people who the judging were their trainers. So she shows me the lineup, and I picked out 1 through 5. And I said, so this girl won. This girl came in, you're 4th. This girl came in late. And she goes, yeah. And I was like, I'm not a judge, and I wasn't being corrupt. And I was like, you weren't ready. I knew last week you weren't ready. I was like, you didn't do something. She goes, well, what did I didn't do? I was like, I don't know. I'm not your coach. I have no idea. I'm just telling you that you weren't ready. I was like, I mean, you can't blame. And then I said, you can't blame it on everything else, or you won't improve. And never spoke to me again after that. Completely ignored me in the gym ever. And that was one of my lessons, when I was like, I obviously can't speak to women like that. That doesn't work.
Well, I think there's a lot of men like that too. I mean,
really?
I've had that problem with people like send me a picture like Chris Bumstead or Dexter Jackson said, I want to look like this. Is it possible?
No.
I'm like,
what are you nuts?
Listen, you might, I personally think anybody could win a regional show. I just think anybody can come in ripped and win a regional show for the most part. Yeah. I think at a national level nowadays, you can place top 5 if you really do the work, and you could turn pro. I mean, it takes a little bit of time, but you could turn pro if you're good. Chris Bumstead and Dexter Jackson is like
Dexter Jackson is in the conversation with greatest bodybuilder ever.
Yeah.
It's like
females, like with some of the female champions. I'm like, and they get mad.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I remember when I was going to Guy again. I always referencing to Guy Del Corso because he was the one that trained me. I only had one trainer other than him, and he used to have girls or guys come in and say, "I want to look like this," and his answer was always, "Let's see how close we can get to that."
That's what I'd say. Yeah.
Oh, is that what you say? Yeah. Okay. So it does, especially with girls.
Let's be the best you. Let's forget about Dexter Jackson. Develop into the best you.
Yeah, that's.
Are you laughing, Danny?
What do you? Yeah. Let's not be Dexter Jackson. I mean, it's strange. Like, it's like I've had people like, especially when I was younger, when I was an apprentice, because I started off as an electrician's apprentice before I started working in the sewer. And, I would have the magazines and stuff, at lunchtime, you're looking at the magazines or break time. And the guys at work are like, how long before you look like that? And it'll be a picture of Kai Green or, whatever, and I'd be like, never, I'm never going to look like that. And I, even back then, like in my late 20s, I would be like, look, man, if I teach you how to play the guitar, can you play like Jimi Hendrix? No, it's never going to happen. If I teach you how to hit a baseball, you're going to be A-Rod? No. Just because I lift weights like Kai Green doesn't mean I'm going to look like him.
Good point. Very good point.
Anyway, all right. Last question. Does it matter what gym you train at when you're trying to bodybuild? I think that for me, yes, I have a better workout when I'm at a gym that has energy. When people are like there, that's why I like going right after work, like at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, because people are there, the music is pumping, weights are banging, people are like, I feed off that. I know a lot of people would rather go to the gym, you know, when there's nobody there, but that's, to me, that's the worst. Like I went to a gym yesterday with my wife, and there was nobody there. It was like 5 people, and it was like working out in my shed. But I don't know. What do you think, Fakhri?
Let's get Danny's opinion first.
All right, Danny, what do you think?
I mean, I think there's definitely like any gym, no. Like you know, a hotel gym, no.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, I mean, if there's free weights and you know they're heavy enough, I mean, if you got dumbbells that go up to, I don't know, 120, I think so.
Yeah.
You know, the gym that I train at, I train there at 11. It's all older people. The intensities, you know, it's not ideal, but there's nothing really else in my area, so I have to make it work.
Yeah, I think it's personal. I think it's personal preference, because I know guys that go first thing in the morning, and you know, there's like guys there that are working out and before work, they're accountants or whatever, they're just looking to get in shape, and they have a great workout. They prefer it that way. Me personally, I hate when a gym is empty. I feed off that energy of, especially when I see the guys and the girls, even the girls banging the weights and like that old school. When you walk into an old school gym,
I agree with you.
remember they had the big speakers on the wall and they'd be pounding fucking music, and the guys would be just fucking killing it. Like, I feed off that. I could never. I don't know. What do you think, Fakhri?
When I first started training, before I touched any PDs, I would always go to bodybuilding gyms. And then when I decided in 2000 to start bodybuilding, I trained at Gold Gym Howard Beach, which nobody was a bodybuilder there. And I trained for 14 years. You know the gym, right, John?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I trained there for 14 years, and I had a couple of good training partners. So that made it, a lot easier because I had the training partners. But then of course, I mean, I currently live 15 minutes away from Beth Francis Gym, and the longest I ever lived away from Beth Francis Gym was like 40 minutes. So when I wanted that hardcore environment, I just go to Beth Francis Gym. But I never had an issue like really pushing myself, like Danny said. I train in the morning sometimes early, like you said as well, and then at nighttime. Like I'll go and train after we get off the podcast. I'll go train like at 10:30 at nighttime.
Wow. Yeah, whatever. When you went to Goals at Howard Beach, I mean, in 2000 it was kind of changing by that point, but that neighborhood was all fucking Ginzos.
Yeah.
They were all I mean, you had to have the knock around Italian guys that only do upper body.
Yeah. When I moved to the area, people couldn't pronounce my name. They couldn't pronounce Fakhri, so everybody thought my name was Frank. Like
yeah, sounds good too.
Hey Frank, and then it would be like little boxing matches between Mayweather and Gotti, and like little things like that.
Oh
and,
God,
you can imagine the jokes and stuff, and I'm saying like,
yeah. That was my old neighborhood, man. It was like that. There was a gym called. There was that was my parents. I was in Bensonhurst, but I remember there was a gym in Bensonhurst called Bath Beach. It was on Bath Avenue, man.
I remember.
Yeah, and then it was like it was there forever, and every half a wise guy worked out in there. You know what I mean? One of the guys that I interview, Larry Mazza, used to work out there, and it was like, man, it was like intimidating, But by the time I was old enough to go to the gym, it was already closed. But I don't know. It is what it is.
I gotta say, shout out to Howard Beach though. Everybody there treated me like family. That gym was family to me, and it's still family to me. Like the young guys, a couple of young guys bought it, and I'm welcome there anytime, man. So big shout out to Howard Beach, man, for all these that spent there early. Thank you.
Yeah, usually the franchise gyms that have private owners or private gyms, they get to know you better.
Yeah.
Like the chain gyms, you know, like one of the gyms I go to is a chain gym, Elite Fitness. And it's just like they have a bunch of, you know, college kids running the place. They don't, there's no, they don't know, you know, they don't know anything or anybody, or they don't learn your first name. But when you have a privately owned gym and that is your bread and butter, you make it your business to know people and treat them well, because you don't want them to go anywhere, man. That's just the way, and
Those are
that's like
usually
that.
the best gyms.
Yeah, and that's usually like, any spot, like if you go to a hardware store that's been in the neighborhood for 40 years and it's the second generation now, they're gonna know who you are. You'll ask them, I need A, B, and C, and they'll go, okay, yeah, we got that. Are you doing this or that? And they'll help you through it, whatever. You go to a Home Depot, and I always have this joke, they should change the name to Home Depot to whatever's here, because that's the answer I get when I ask somebody, do you have A, B, and C? Whatever's here. Anyway. All right, gentlemen. Really appreciate you guys coming on. Fantastic episode. And I will see you guys Wednesday night over at Muscular Development.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right, fellas. Later.
Bye.